Welcome into the National Defense. It's Randy Miller and Jerry Newberry. And I love this segment. I love these segments where we can actually talk to some NFL players, get to some of the stuff behind the person who wears the uniform, not just the military uniform, but the football uniform. And you might remember last season when everybody was up in arms, not everybody, most people up in arms about the players kneeling during the national anthem. You might remember one game in which one player separated himself from the rest of the team. Not that he wanted to separate himself from the team, but this man, former military, captain in the Army, wanted to stay proud to his country, wanted to salute the flag. So he did walk away from his team and was pictured standing on the sidelines while the national anthem was played. So many people respected that movement that his jersey immediately became one of the most popular jerseys in the NFL. So everybody's ordering his jersey. A couple of months ago, he got all the royalties from the jersey and turned right around and did what you would expect him to do, gave it all to charity. And his name is Al Villanueva. He's a starting tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Al, how are you?
Great. I'm doing very well.
Hey, listen, man, thank you so much for taking the time. Really admired you for a long time, and not just because of what you do on the field, but the things you've done off the field and the model that you represent with everything going on. But it's really a pleasure to talk to you. How long have you been with the Steelers?
Randy, well, thank you so much for your kind words. I'll let you know that I'm just another guy. Everything else that you probably heard about me maybe a little bit overinflated. But I've been with the Steelers for 5 years. And this next year will be my 5th year.
Well, and overinflated just applies to your size, though. I mean, you're 6'9", 320. I mean, you know, and a captain in the Army, and also a graduate of West Point, right?
Yes, exactly. It was a very tough choice. My dad was in the Navy, and obviously I've always been near the line. Couldn't have been happy with the choice.
Hey, thank you so much for your service. And I was just listening to a podcast that you did, I think at a hockey game, at a Pens game. And I was very surprised to hear you say that the toughest athletes that go into the service are not football players, but are hockey players.
Well, I wouldn't say that they're tough. You know, what I would say is that percentage-wise, you know, the reputation that they have, obviously maybe because of their size and their ability to overcome a lot of the challenges of some of the combat armed branches, are hockey players. And from what I remember, you know, they're very motivated and obviously very physical.
And scrappy guys, right?
Scrappy guys, that's what I would say. Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
yeah, you know what? I used to live in Pittsburgh. I did radio in Pittsburgh for a while. What a great town and what great fans that the Steelers have, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's one of those cities that you know, I always saw the exit on 81 towards Pittsburgh, and I always wondered, you know, what Pittsburgh was like. Because you'll hear horror stories about it, but then once you get in here now, it's a very modern city. It's got great, you know, great hospitals, great education, great people, and obviously, you know, from a football standpoint, the fans are unbelievable.
Oh, man. I just remember, you know, unbelievable, and they're fickle. You know, I can remember being there when Chuck Noll was the coach, and halfway through the game, people are yelling for him. They love him. They love him. One play goes wrong, and then they're shouting, "Get rid of Noll! Get rid of Noll!" Right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't.
I mean, they're just they wear their emotions on their sleeve, like a lot of football players do, and you know, the thing with fans are they love you when you're winning, and they question you when you're losing. What a tough racket to be in, right? What a tough business.
Well, it's, you know, you're there for the fans. You know, you're there for the fans to love you or to hate you. They're the ones that. They're the ones that make you or break you, and so I think in my case, it's been obviously you know, a lot of ups and downs in my career, and a lot of a lot of the very same, affection and questions
Sure.
of all of these things. And so it's something that you learn from, and just like they say, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
We're talking to Al Villanueva from the Pittsburgh Steelers here in the National Defense. And, I love doing these interviews with all of you guys because I think, it's like everything else. And you've been a member of both. I mean, you're a veteran, you've been a member of the military, and you're a member of the NFL. And I think those things, they kind of cast a light when a couple of people or some other people do something, then I think people judge the entire association like that, and it's not fair. And I think with doing these kind of interviews and kind of talking to you guys and finding out what you really like, it really lets people know what kind of good you do and what kind of community efforts and the things you do that people don't find out about. Is that a fair thing to say?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would say that, percentage-wise, or if you look at any other type of statistics,
right?
I think the reputation that the NFL players get is somewhat unfounded. But
Yep.
There's just so much publicity that NFL players get because of the attention of the sport and because of the intense scrutiny that they're in. That they get, that their bad side sells a little bit more than their good side.
Sure.
And just like you said, the community service and everything that they do for people that are less fortunate is something that's always very present in everyone's mind. And I can tell you firsthand that in the case of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Coach Tomlin does a tremendous job making us realize how fortunate we are every single day to play the game that we love, and how much we can use our platforms to help others that are less fortunate.
And you have that unique perspective too, Al, being in the military, being part of that kind of camaraderie, and then being a part of the NFL. Is there anything similar about it? What are some of the differences and similarities there?
Well, I mean, I think just like everything else, the similarities are, in the military, everybody comes from all 50 states. And
Yep.
same as in the NFL, everybody comes from, maybe in the NFL is a little bit more constricted to the power states, so California, Texas, Florida, the South. But a lot of times what you'll find is, two individuals from completely different sides of the United States, and even though it's the same country, is culturally very, very, very different, to be from the West Coast or the South,
Right.
or the Northeast, and then just all of a sudden face a challenge together. So in the military, it's training camp. In the military, it's maybe deployment. And so what you end up finding is that maybe you don't feel very comfortable around somebody who's not from where you're from. But then after a couple of challenges together, then you start realizing just, how similar you are in every aspect and how much you like each other. And you end up becoming best friends. And you start celebrating the diversity
Right.
that we have in this country, and so it's a beautiful thing that very few people get to experience, because you don't get to get challenged physically with people from other parts of the country like you do in the military, you do in football.
Yeah, well said. And what is the more physical situation, being in the Army or Steelers camp in Latrobe?
It's a very tough question, and I think that. Psychologically, you can never remember, if I ask you right now, what's the coldest it's ever been, it's very difficult to recreate that cold. We have very short memories when it comes to pain and when
Right.
it comes to uncomfortable situations. So right now, Latrobe is so vivid on my mind, how, especially in the NFL, the older you get in the NFL, the tougher it gets, because you're competing
Right.
against, obviously younger players that recover a lot faster. And they have a lot more energy because it's their first time, doing training camp, and you've been doing it for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, 10 years, however long some
Yeah.
can play in the NFL. But obviously the NFL, is measuring whether you can do a specific task at a specific level, and in the military, they just want to make sure that you want to test you whether you can finish the task.
Right.
And,
right. Well,
and obviously,
I think in both cases you got to be very resourceful at every single second, right?
yeah, I think it's I think what I found out, from both experiences is that the psychological part is a lot more difficult than the physical part. So, you can prepare all you want in the gym. You can prepare all you want with your diet, getting advice from people that have done it. And you will not find the physical part as tough as the psychological part. So if you're going through, something like Ranger School, for example, you'll be questioning, asking yourself whether you're going to get a go on your mission all the time, constantly. If you're deployed, you're going to be asking yourself constantly, what is the purpose of this mission? What is it that we're doing? Is this something that, that is fulfilling my life and whatnot?
Sure.
And then when you go to the NFL is, am I going to get cut tomorrow? Am I going to make it? Is this going to be, am I playing good enough? Or did I make a mistake yesterday or the last preseason game that's going to cost me my career? So it's a little bit challenging, from that aspect. And you find that your head is sometimes your worst enemy.
Although, in the military, you don't see a lot of guys that are 6'9", 320, do you?
You see some. So Army, for example, had a great, had a basketball program that had very tall players as well. And so it was, when I thought I was the tallest, and you're always going to have a basketball player that's going to
somebody
top of your head.
Right. Pittsburgh's a great town. I don't know if Permane Brothers is a great place to eat. And everybody, it seems like in Pittsburgh, at least when I was there, no matter who you are, everybody's kind of a regular person. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I think that, one of the things that they don't like in Pittsburgh is for you to stand out, if you think that you're better than, everybody else.
Yeah.
That's in the city of Pittsburgh. And then you can easily tell that, if regardless of who you are and what is it that you do, you better have something in common with everybody. Otherwise, you're going to be an anomaly in the city. Right.
We're talking to Al Villanueva from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, Al, do you have any touchdown dances prepared if you score in a fumble or, special eligible play or whatever?
You know what? That's one of the toughest questions that I think every single offensive lineman, asks all the time. And I think proof of how much effort and how difficult it is for them to think about this is every single time you see a touchdown by, just like you said, an offensive lineman or a non-skill player, you'll see that they get really, really nervous, that they have something planned, but it's not getting executed because all their teammates are dancing and they're not really on the end zone. So
sure.
I think that it'll be, if I get to score a touchdown sometime in my career, it'll be a great, problem to have. And then the celebration, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was going to say, you better have something ready. You've done some excellent things for many communities, and it's one of those things, again, that doesn't get reported widely, but that's why we're doing this, so that people have an understanding of what you guys give back to the cities they play in, and just really appreciate the things you do.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, Al, listen, thank you for taking the time. We are headquartered. This show is in Kansas City, so unfortunately I can't root for you. But
I get the same issue. Actually, one of the squad leaders that I served with is from Kansas City. He works for the VA down in Fort Leavenworth, and he's flying in. He's flying in for this game. He was an infantryman from 10th Mountain Division. Served with the 82nd as well. He's got 3 Purple Hearts. Wow. This man was blown up, shot at the neck, and then when he was with me, he was shot, 3 times, and he's an unbelievable soldier. And he has, he tells me the same things every single time. You're from Kansas. You guys, Kansas City already played Pittsburgh. I don't understand, what the issue is with you cheering, for Pittsburgh for the rest of the season.
That's right. Well, listen, man, thank you so much for your service, and thanks for giving us the time today, Captain.
Thank you so much, Randy. I really appreciate it.
Talk to you again soon. We'll be right back here in the National Defense.
We're from the town with the great football team. We cheer the Pittsburgh Steelers.